What is up? This is War Dog. Welcome to another episode of Comic Book Theater with my main man, JR. What's going on, JR?
What's up, War Dog?
Oh, man, we just signed and packaged up some comic books. The crew is going out this week. I got to do all the mailing, so hopefully I can get it all done. But other than that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Key Collector app. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and why don't you do your thing?
Right on, man. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Key Collector app. I'm gonna bring up my phone here, and it's got my my nifty little background here, and right here is my Key Collector app. Now, I am a supporter of Key Collector as far as I have. Your brightness is up a little bit, but I can see it loading there. I'll tell you right now, we made an announcement on the Facebook group that we have. Well, an announcement to make for a contest for a giveaway for Key Collector's app. Okay. So having said that, bear with me for just a moment.
And a huge thank you to Nick Colonese for contributing to this. I mean, Nick is awesome. Absolutely. One of our favorite guests.
Absolutely. We've had him on multiple times. He was probably the first guest that we had on more than once. And I think it was like 1 week, we skipped a week with him, and he was back the very next week after that. And so he's been a huge supporter and help to us on the show, but not just on the show, in the community as well, as far as with the Collector's Corner. Now, one thing I will remind everybody, if you're not a member of the Collector's Corner, good idea to hop in over the Collector's Corner. Right now, Nick has a 1 week free trial for Corner members, and you type in Collector's Corner in Facebook for the search, and you look for the shield that I just showed on my phone here. Look for that shield right there, the Collector's Corner. And what you do is you run in there. We do have it, again, 1 week free trial. You type in CC free. That's the Collector's Corner code. 1 week free trial, full suite. Everything that Key Collector offers, you get, which is a huge, huge help. Now, let me explain this to some folks, okay? Because I think that there may be some misconceptions on what goes on with the Key Collector's app. We've talked to Nick before on the show about the Key Collector app itself and what he does. I know that there's some controversy, okay, and I don't want to dodge that, and I don't think Nick wants us to dodge that either. He's one of those guys. He likes to do things head on. That's one of the things I appreciate about him. He's, I mean, you know, for everything that I've dealt with Nick, he's been upfront about it. If he screws something up, he's willing to fix it. If he doesn't have information, he's willing to add it. Essentially, we are helping him make a better app, and when he makes a better app, he gets us the information. Now, so anyway, and he's partnered with other YouTubers and stuff. He's got plenty of different things on the app that you can scroll down through. One of my favorites is the DC logo. Boom, boom, right there. So you click on it. You know, and you get an idea of what DC logo variants there are out there, how scarce they can be, etc. Anyway, with all that, that's where we've provided him with information as a community and saying, hey, Nick, you need to pay attention to these a little closer, and he adds it. Now, I know that there are some people, I don't really want to read motives, but I get the feeling that from everybody that I've spoken with, these are people that I respect and like, okay? I think you would agree with me on that, Todd, that we're not saying this to be rude to anybody or to make anybody upset at us or at Nick, because, like I say, it's a genuine disagreement.
Yeah. No, you're just a jerk, John. I know you just want to come out here and talk smack about these guys. No, I'm just saying, I mean, you know, there are opinions out there, and I mean, I haven't seen the proof, and so, you know, I'll hear what they have to say, but I've also talked to Nick many times, and, you know, until I see proof, I'm with
Yeah.
Nick.
This is a deal, and I've again, this is where I have had people that I absolutely respect. I like. I consider them friends of mine, and really, it is a disagreement because I believe that they feel as though places like CBSI and Key Collector, I use both of them because they're both fairly predominant. Um, some people are going to lean one way or the other, but they feel as though that they're actually trying to influence the market. And I will tell you that there's possibly a case that could be made that CBSI might be trying to influence the market. Okay, there might be a case for that. On Key Collector's app, what I will say is even with their hot list, the Key Collector and Nick, what he does for the Key Collector, it's not about what some people have termed pump and dump. That's not what it's about at all. I and the reason that I can tell you that I believe that that's not what it's about at all is whenever you click into the hot list. So you got hot keys there. There are not only books that have gone up in price, he will report when a book has stayed level on price, but that the total amount of transactions done on eBay have gone up significantly. I know that right here, for instance, spoiler. I don't think Nick will mind me doing one of these. New X-Men 134, first appearance with Kid Omega. Okay, this is it's low end $1, mid grade at $3, high end at $12. Okay, 600% increase in copies sold versus prior week. Okay, so he's not saying that the price is going up, but he's letting everybody know that those books are trading hands a lot more frequently. 600% is a good number. Now, again, if it went from 1 to 6 copies in 1 week, I don't think it would be making the list. Chances are extremely high that several hundred copies started circulating that weren't circulating before. And that's where I get that Nick is reporting the trends. He's not trying to influence the market. He's reflecting what the market is doing.
Oh yeah, and for me, I look at this as a tool, not so much as something to influence me. Um, what I like to look at on the Key Collector app, I'm a new comic buyer, and so I look at he'll always have the keys for the week, and so like I think they come out like Monday morning, and I'll click on like my phone's a little bright, so I can't show you, but there's like a 731, and if I click on the 731 here, it'll show me all like the first appearances or anything significant about any of the books that are coming out, and I'm able to distinguish between what I should pick up and what might be popular, but I don't need to pick up. And I
Right.
mean that's what a tool is for, right? I mean you use it to help you, but it doesn't necessarily finish the job.
Right. Well, and that's another thing. I'm glad you bring that up, and that's the way I like to term it too. Is Key Collector is a tool that you put in your utility belt, and when the time comes, you reference it. Okay. And just like that, Nick has his own picks in there for personal picks that he will absolutely say these are not spec buys. These are not books that I am telling you will increase in value in any way. They're keys because I think they're cool. It's my app. I'm putting them in there, and then so he puts in there, nice little fun notes about, hey, this is these books are funny to me or neat to me because of this reason. So, and somebody else brought up in the collector's corner on a thread about this, that there are more $1 to $3 key books in Key Collectors app than there are high dollar books or what we would consider speculation books. There are tons of them, and it's because there's so many minor first appearances, minor keys, deaths, etc., that you want to you may want to know, because let's be real here, they're normally minor keys before they become mega keys. There's a progression there. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, there's going to be more dollar books keys than major keys because there's only so many really popular characters. It's cool that Nick actually goes out, has done the work to find those and and actually present them to us. So when you're digging through the dollar bins, you might find something and be like, hey, this is a dollar key. This is kind of a cool character. I'll pick it up just in case. I'll spend $1 and I'll add it to my collection. And who knows? I mean, and that's what speculation and investing is all about, right? You try to find like something that is good, that's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You buy low and you sell high. I mean,
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, I can't agree with that more. Is yeah, you buy something at a reasonable or at a low price, especially, and hey man, I make no bones about it. I buy, sell, and trade. I do that. It's so that I can afford to basically trade up. I've shared some of my spec picks with people on our channel before here, and I might share another one tonight. I may rehash one tonight as an example. But the truth is if you're picking them up in dollar bins and then you get word that hey, something serious is getting ready to happen with it, and it spikes to $20, if you've got a fistful of them, liquidate half of them. Then you've secured your profit. And people who invest in stocks and those type of things too, and are traders, they'll tell you secure that you have made a profit. Once you secure that you've made that profit, then if you still have some of those stocks left, if they continue to rise, great, make more profit. If they go down, you've already secured your profit. You're not hurt at all. It's hedging your bet is what it's doing.
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not much of a seller, so but I do enjoy picking up the keys, and I'm not a hoarder. So I mean, granted, like anybody, if I found like 20 Amazing Spider-Man 361s, I'd be through the roof. And maybe I would probably sell a bunch of them, and then buy another key of another character that I have. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, look, I don't believe I've shared this story with folks on the channel before here, but I currently own first appearance of Poison Ivy in a 4.0 CGC. And the way that I was able to do that was I had 4 or 5 mid-low grade keys that were ungraded that I had found through basically just sheer will, frankly. I ain't gonna lie to people. I bust my can, give up a lot of lunch hours, a lot of extra time after work, before work, digging, doing my research, and so I end up with some of these keys, and I'm able to trade them off to secure a book that I wanted for my own personal collection. But these were books that I was smart enough to say, hey, these are good books to have, but I don't have an emotional attachment to them. So I can trade them and get a book that I want for my collection, and really that's what I enjoy about Key Collectors app is it makes some of those that are. And one other thing that I have said before too is nobody can be a complete and total genius expert on all forms of comic books. It's impossible. The the hobby is simply too big. So in other words, you and I might really be good at you're going to be good at what's coming out next week. I might be good at Bronze Age superheroes. Somebody else is going to be, is going to be Golden Age expert, and somebody else is going to be your cartoon, Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera type expert. It's so big that, but there again, guys like you and me, if we don't want to pass up keys, you put it on the app, and it just makes sense to have that tool and use it. But there again, I'm not going to force people to use it if they're not into it.
Oh, you know what? I mean, if you're a comic book collector, though, you'd be crazy not to add it to your phone. If you have a phone, it is definitely a useful app. I enjoy it. I think, one of the criticisms that comes up about Nick is that people think that Nick is propping up books and then going out and selling them on eBay. So I think that is the biggest question mark. And in our conversations with Nick, he's vehemently denied ever doing that because he wants to have a reputable app, and he wants to be providing information that isn't biased.
Right.
Right. I would say, for the people that say that, I mean, we have comments here. I mean, prove it to me. If there's an eBay name for Nick and he's selling stuff, then prove it. I have no proof. I take Nick's word. He's a good person, in my opinion.
Right. He has been good to us before we had the podcast with the Collector's Corner. He's been good to us with the podcast. And by good to us, I don't mean, Todd, either one of us making any money off of this podcast.
No.
Going in the hole on the podcast, basically, because we love talking comic books and I like you. I don't really, your face is a little askew sometimes, but I like you and I love talking comic books, and I love the comic book community. The truth is, our affiliation with Key Collector is as fans and as friends. We don't make anything off of this. And by the way, I don't think that we have gone into exactly what we need for our announcement with Key Collector, but I'll do it now. Our announcement with Key Collector is Nick has been kind enough to allow us to give to one of our viewers,
subscribers.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to subscribe to our channel. Okay. Super easy. Down below us, there's a little subscribe next to Nerd Up, Nerd Out. Click subscribe. Below that, keep scrolling down. There's comments. Comment. Tell us what you like about my hairdo or Todd's hairdo. Just comment. Let us know. If you don't like Key Collector and you don't want it free, tell us. I don't like it. I don't want it free. I might enter you anyway, and you might win anyway. Probably not. If you tell me you don't want it, I'm not going to. We've already said we're not going to force it on you. But anyway, so like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment. There is one last part there, and this is something that Nick told us. You have to make sure that your email is on file with Key Collector. So you do want to make sure that you have an active profile. Just by doing an active profile does not mean that you're paying for anything, okay? But it does allow you to keep track of, hey, this key is in my collection. Hey, that key is in my collection. You can build your collection up that way and keep track of it that way. Totally free. But make sure that your email is on file with Key Collector, so you've got that profile. At the end of 48 hours after the video goes live here, we will do a drawing based off of all of the criteria listed below. If you're not already, if your email is not already taken care of there, once you're the winner, we can work all that stuff out. Make sure you do the big three, though. Subscribe, like, comment. You have to do those. Then you'll be entered. We'll get it drawn, and we'll announce the winner after that 48-hour period is up. But a 1-year subscription, to a full version of a paid. I mean, you know, it's $20 a year, which, you know, that's really fairly priced.
Oh yeah, $20. It's definitely worth $20. And with the finds that you can make using the app, I mean, I definitely think it's worth it. It's a great app, and like we said, I mean, it's a tool. You got to use your own brain. You use the tool. The tool helps you. If you're dollar bin diving and you're looking, you see something, you can go onto the Key Collector app. You can find out if the book's important. For a new comic buyer like me, I go to the store. I know what the keys are, and you know the other thing is that uh, um, some of the things, you know, you can just figure out yourself. I mean, Nick's just there helping you, but like, you know, The Boys just came out, right? So you know that The Boys is going to go up. I don't need Nick Colonies to tell me that The Boys is going to be popular, or what Umbrella Academy. I mean, so you know, if you're into comics, you kind of, you know, you kind of expect some of these things. He's just there giving you that extra help.
Right, right. Well, and you can't always commit, like for The Boys. It's great. It's great that you bring that up. But number one is not the only key issue in that run. There are a couple of other key issues in that run where you get first appearances of the big bads later in that run, and I'm not going to spoil it. It's on the app if people want to look it up. It's right there, and you do bring up a great point too, that you don't have to subscribe. I think it's a good. I especially think it's a good idea for people who are new to comic books or who are wanting to go in and attempt to build value in their collection that don't have a ton of experience. Like you said, some people, you kind of get the way that things happen in the community. You see certain trends. You can pick up on some of that on your own, but I'll tell you right now, there are going to be some things that you're going to miss if you're not using this as one of the tools. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. You're going to miss some things, and then you're going to go back and you're going to kick yourself for having missed some of those things. Now, again, is anybody perfect? Are you going to hit every single one of the times? No, but I'll tell you right now, one of my biggest regrets in hunting comic books was not buying 4 short boxes at $40 a piece whenever I was just coming back into the hobby pretty hardcore. I had the money in my pocket. I should have just bought them. It would have been just fine. If I'd had Key Collector with me, I identified one book in there that I thought would pay for 2 of the short boxes. So I had it half paid off in one book. On retrospect, on future going home after not being willing to pay that much and doing research, there were 2 or 3 other books in there that would have paid for the entire thing, every bit of it. But I didn't know them by sight. I missed it. There was no Key Collector at the time. I mean, we're talking like 4 years ago here, okay? So no Key Collector at the time. If there had been, that makes it a no-brainer to pick up every one of them on those 4 books. It's all paid for in those 4 books, and anything else is just icing on the cake.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself because the air conditioner is going off.
It's all
But
good.
yeah, you know, I mean, um, we've talked with Nick before, and there's other videos in our library where you can see and you can evaluate Nick for yourself. I mean, I've had enough conversations with Nick that I trust what he's saying, and what he really put forward to us is that he's trying to help people so that because I mean, you can end up with tons and tons of comic books, and then you know, when you pass away, you got thousands of comic books, and your family's like, "What do I do with these?" Well, Nick's also giving you another avenue to be able to say, you know, consolidate your collection a little bit. So
Mhm.
you could, I mean, like in my case, I told my wife that anything that's in a hard plastic case, don't just give away.
Right.
And I mean that's one of the things that I think as an adult, as a parent, as a collector, you don't want to see, you don't want to be, floating around above your family as a ghost and looking down and seeing, you know, your Amazing Spider-Man 300 is just given away to somebody for $1. And Nick is kind of helping in that way too, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Nick. I'm a fan.
I think he gets two thumbs up. I think he gets two thumbs up for the ad for sure, for sure. So hey, real quick, let's transition just a little bit here because I kind of feel like I hate to say this, did not mean to bait and switch anybody on tonight's episode. Okay, we publicized quite extensively that we were going to have Shane and Dustin on this evening um, on the podcast. Unfortunately, there's some health issues that are keeping them away right now. So we want to wish speedy recovery. But I do want to talk about the subject that we're going to have them on about, and we're just going to tease it because I think this is one of those topics that it's to the point that it's mythological at this point, and I don't want to ruin the mythology around it, but I think that Dustin and Shane can shed some light on the subject. And we're talking about the angry girlfriend variant, as some people have named it. The Amazing Spider-Man 14 first appearance of the Green Goblin that they own. We have witnessed them handling it in Facebook videos, etc. Um, it it has become a thing of legend. I would say that this comic book is that an understatement to you, Todd?
No, I don't think so at all because I mean we're talking about keys today, right? I mean that's the first appearance of Green Goblin. I mean just the, just thinking about that at this moment is like holy crap. I mean, you know, that's significant in itself.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. So what I think that I am comfortable talking about this evening about it is stuff that we know having seen it. As far as firstly, I want to be clear with people that have I want to be clear with people that know very very little about what's going on with the comic book. Okay, you can see it now. It is now graded CBCS at a 1.8. You can see the front and the back cover. Chance, go to hell. On the back cover, talking about not trying to be noble, signed Karen, basically. Okay. You can see all of those things. What you can no longer see, unless if you have pictures, and there are pictures out there that we will have access to when we talk to them. Karen wrote on every page that had Green Goblin storyline, Spider-Man storyline, but didn't write on any of the ad pages. Okay, again, this is not up for debate. This is not up for speculation. These are things that are definitively provable. She wrote on them. That's what she did. Now, mind you, my understanding about this is that Shane and Dustin have had this book for a significant amount of time. I don't think that that's that's definitive and provable as well. They are not in the market to sell to the general public this book. At least that is from every conversation I have had with them. They're not looking to sell. The last number that I heard Shane pop out of his face was 100,000. He would take $100,000 on this book. Now, Todd, do you know of anyone that's willing to give them $100,000 on this book?
Maybe Donnie Cates. I don't know. Wasn't Donnie Cates the one that got excited about it?
Well, look,
The Whisperer, the Dollar Bin Whisperer.
The Dollar Bin. Yeah, he is the Dollar Bin Whisperer. You know, I don't know that he was necessarily willing to go that high.
No.
Now, do I think that he was maybe willing to give them some value? If the offer that I have heard was made, he was willing to give them significant value for the book. My opinion on it is it has reached a level where it has gained a life all its own. Now, this is something else, and I was not told that I could not say this part of the story, so I'm not going to not say this. Dustin and Shane have found Chance. So they have spoken with Chance. Now, the interesting part about that is, to me, that's like talking to Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
That's like, to a certain degree, almost none of us really kind of believe that Chance was a real person to a certain extent. Like, it's just mind-boggling that Chance is a real person, okay? Now, having said that, I also have spoken with Chance. I've listened to his side of the story. I'm not going to disclose his side of the story at all because he asked if he was on the record. I said no. That's fine. I'm not going to disclose his side of the story. I know that's going to disappoint some people. But I want everybody to know that I'm a man of my word. He asked to not be on the record. He wasn't on the record. I will say this. I have invited him privately, Chance, to come on the podcast with us. Now, I will extend this to anyone who knows Karen.
Yeah.
If you know Karen, she is also welcome on the podcast. Not at the same time as Chad. We don't do Jerry Springer stuff around here. Do I look like Jerry? I look like Steve. I look like Steve a little bit from Jerry Springer. I don't look like Jerry Springer. That's not what we do. But if somebody knows Karen and wishes to extend to her that we would like to have her on the podcast as well, so that she can give her 2 cents, give her side of the story, I'll extend the exact same offer to her that she's more than welcome to come on. Again, look, we're talking about a comic book, and granted, we all know that the comic book in question is a mega key as far as Amazing Spider-Man collectors are concerned. But on the flip side, it's kind of like we've talked about before. They're funny books, man. They're comic books. They're superheroes. This is all part of just us being able to live out that nostalgia from our childhood. So the worst possible case scenario, it's still just a comic book, okay? Granted, a valuable comic book, but nonetheless a comic book. So I do want to remind folks that it is just a comic book, even though we all have kind of an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be a little bit offended talking to Karen after knowing that she's ruined that book. Karen, I don't like you very much. I'm sorry.
Well, no, see,
even though I can't afford it.
Well, yeah, neither one of us can afford $100,000 to take it off of Shane and Dustin's hands.
Even
I couldn't afford the $5. Yeah, I couldn't afford the $5,000. Oh, and see, this is the other crazy part about that. Okay, the $5,000 asking price that everybody is saying was out there. Shane and Dustin never posted that book. Okay, just so everybody is aware, Shane and Dustin are not in that group where the book was posted for sale. I'm trying to track that down. Okay, that's something I'm trying to track down too, which again, I told people there's some wild and craziness going on with this book. That's one of the things to me that's one of the most wild and crazy of all of them is somewhere along the line in this story, whoever it was that was trying to fraudulently sell said book has just disappeared into the ether. The group that the book was for sale on, not being held accountable by anyone else in the comic book community. And I will say this, we have the Corner Market that's affiliated with the Collector's Corner. We do a good job of keeping it a very select few people that are allowed in there. Okay, we vet people in there. The place that it was selling at obviously had a lax. Now, am I going to say that we're perfect on the Corner Market? Dude, it's impossible to be perfect on social media. You put all sorts of things in place. You try and hold the community standard at a certain level. You're not going to be perfect. So I'm not going to dog them completely, but I am going to say this. I've not seen any report. I'm an admin on the Corner Market, and I'm in several groups where you try to post things where people are posting fraudulently in other groups to help each other out. It's not a witch hunt kind of thing. It's a, hey, this guy over here or this gal over here has posted this book. It's not theirs to sell. Guys, be on the lookout. If they're in your group, you may want to take action. I've not seen that post from those administrators of that group. So what I will say is I'm kind of disappointed in them that they're not trying to help out fellow admins in other groups keep their groups clean. Now, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I think that is common courtesy, honestly. I always suggest that if you have seen a fraudulent post on social media, not in a witch hunt, do it in the right way. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row. If you've got screenshots and you know it's fraudulent, you need to be sharing it with people. That is how we keep our community safe from fraudsters, from scammers.
You know, one thing I want to say too is I live in Georgia, and Shane and Dustin live in Georgia. I've actually met those guys. We've gone out to dinner after comic book shows. I know that they own this book, so I mean, I've seen it. So they're Shane and Dustin are 100% legit. There's no falsity about those guys or falsehood about those guys. As far as selling the book, you know what? I mean, if I could sell the book to Donnie Cates and make a nice little profit on it, I think I would. It's just like with the Key Collector app. I mean, Nick will point out things that are hyped up, right? And then like a year later, boom, nobody cares about them. Like Hydro Man and all the stuff from Spider-Man Far From Home, right? Everybody was running out. I gotta get Hydro Man. They're paying crazy amounts of money, and then next thing you know, it's nobody cares about it anymore. You know, so I mean that's the way to tie that all in.
No, I agree. I agree to a certain extent that the chances of that book being any hotter ever again are slim to none.
Yeah.
You have, and by the way, if you guys have been living under a rock, Newsweek has picked this story up. Okay, there are several comic book related web pages that have picked it up. All you gotta do is type in "angry girlfriend comic book." Okay, and by the way, the facts of the story are a little weirder than what we've all contrived in our mind. And it's one of those things of it's weird in a way that you don't necessarily expect it. Okay, like you said about Karen, I don't like Karen very much, dude. I don't know Karen. I'm not saying she was justified in doing what she was doing, but I will say that every story has two sides or three sides: his story, her story, and the truth. Okay. Generally speaking, and I'm not, Chance, if you listen to this, Karen, if you listen to this, understand, I'm not calling either one of you a liar. What I am saying is we have our own perception of what happened on each side. Generally speaking, the truth is somewhere closer to in the middle. Okay. I think that's I think we would all agree to that it Look, man, I've had to go back and try and remember some things, and it turned out that I misremembered.
Well, and there is some. I mean, they don't really know us, right? So I mean, there is a level of comfort. How much of the story do I want to tell you?
Of course, of course. And look, that's something else too that I tried to make very well known to Chance when I spoke with him is I'm willing to let him say I'm willing to let him say whatever he is, as long as he doesn't go into the realm of conjecture of trying to read somebody else's mind. Look, that's the other reason why I have kind of issues with people with and this is where it does tie directly back in to Key Collector. If you got proof that somebody is trying to manipulate a market, okay, that's one thing. If you just suspect it and you're trying to read their mind, that doesn't fly with me, man. I'm not willing. I mean, again, bring me proof. Instant message me, put in the comments, give me a link to where you have that proof. If it's legit proof, if it's not just an opinion or a feeling you get, please excuse me if I completely dismiss your feeling, because your feeling is not a factual thing. Well, it's the same thing in this case too. Chance has a story he remembers a very certain way, and I have no doubt that the way he saw it, the way things were happening in his mind, that's exactly what happened. But I also have no doubt that Karen probably remembers it slightly differently because she was looking at it from the exact opposite angle. So anyway, it is an interesting story. I'm very hopeful at some point they will share it with us because I think that it's a story that's worth listening to. And this is one other place that you and I will differ, whereas you would be willing to flip, get out of it because it is never going to be hotter. Dude, I'm a conversation piece collector. I love conversation pieces, man. And one of these days I will show off some of my conversation pieces. That will be for another broadcast. But I like things that have stories behind them. I've got a very interesting Pez dispenser. I don't collect Pez dispensers, but it was in a box of stuff that I found, and when I show it to you, you'll understand why it's a conversation piece. I have a piece of art from a friend of mine in from the UK. He was really upset about something, and in kind of just this fit of, I can't believe this. He drew. Trying to think of how to put this politely. He drew Harley Quinn's backside in her little shorty shorts and the fishnet stockings, and on the rear end where it might say something like "Daddy's Little Monster" or whatever, it said "Strong Female Role Model," and and he posted it to Facebook, and I already had him working on 2 pieces of commission for me already. I instant messaged him 2 minutes after that went onto his Facebook. I said, Anthony, I must have it. Essentially, name your price. I don't know. It's just amazing. You have to share this with me. And he gifted it to me. He's like, dude, I didn't think anybody would ever actually want that. He's like, I was really just kind of miffed. And I said, no, he's like, I haven't even erased the pencil. Don't touch it, please. Leave it exactly as you posted it, because it's amazing in that moment is captured in my mind as a conversation. One of the last ones as a conversation piece for me is I have a full collection of the Marvel value stamps that came in a collection that I purchased. Nobody really wants them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It brings a tear to some people's eyes because they know there's a Hulk 181 out there that's incomplete because I have its value stamp.
Yeah, that would hurt.
It does hurt a little bit, but on the flip side too, it was already done years and years and years before I got it. What are you going to do?
No, you got the piece. I mean, you got the end of it all, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's probably as close as I'll ever get to a Hulk 181. But anyway, conversation pieces. I love them, and I think that's what that is. And if I owned it, I'd be the same way they are. I'd never get rid of it.
I don't know. I mean, conversational pieces have a if you can make a little bit of money off of them, and I have to decide between a nice amount of money or a conversation piece, I'm gonna go with the money, and then I'll buy some more comic books. Heck, I might even find a girlfriend that gets angry and draws on one of them.
No, the funny part about that is Tony Buck will find this. Tony, if you're a member of the Collector's Corner, or if you become a member of the Collector's Corner, you will get to know who Tony Buck is. Tony Buck basically, somebody, when they reposted the pictures, somebody said something about, man, I really wish I had that. In comments, Tony Buck, again, quick-witted dude, types in there, send me your most expensive book. I'll break up with you and send it back to you.
Yeah.
And it was just priceless the way that he termed that. Now again, we're making light of this, it's amusing, man. It's amusing. And I did tell this to Chance that to us, it's not a personal item. To him, obviously, it's a personal item. And I don't want to read his motives. That may be why he doesn't want to talk about it now. And I'm okay with that if he doesn't want to talk about it right now. Maybe at some point he will. But yeah, there is definitely some lightheartedness to have about it. And I think at the very least he and she should know that even if there is a bit of a darker tone to a story about it, that book has since brought a lot of people a lot of joy and a lot of smiles, a few tears, a few, oh man, I can't believe this, but entertainment 100%.
Actually, what is that first appearance of Green Goblin sell for? Any idea?
The in a 1.8 grade, it's going to sell in the neighborhood of $500-600 roughly. I mean, it's substantial, man. It's no joke. Now if it's in a much better shape. Now this is the other funny part about that too, just real quick, because it always comes to my mind. Shane and Dustin have the graders notes for it. One of the graders notes says something about amateur restoration, slight color touch. And we're all like, yeah, no crap. There's great big black magic marker all over this. What are you talking about, man? But anyway, just that light, whenever the term light color touch, and then you look at it, it just cracks me up, dude. It cracks me up because I'm like, they didn't miss anything. They were serious as it could be about giving this a legit grade, which I'm glad that they did. But
yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe it graded 1.8 even. I mean,
oh yeah. Well, I mean, again, she touched every page with story on it, and that's not conjecture. That's not us guessing or saying, oh, I think that's what happened. We've seen the pictures of it before it got graded. They literally went page by page and showed all the pictures of it. You can find it. It's online on Facebook. But the thing is you do that much to it, it does dramatically drop the price. And I really think that without all of that on it and without the slight color touch, I think it's probably a 5.
Yeah, it looks like a nice book.
It was not a torn up book at all.
Yeah.
It was not a torn up book at all. So, and the other funny thing about it is talking to Shane and Dustin, that book, since they have owned it, has seen some interesting twists and turns. But I don't want to steal their thunder. I want them to be able to tell it, because as well as I do, those old boys have a certain way of telling the story that's highly entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in we should probably wrap this one up. And I mean, in a final thought, I mean, that just gets you to question the whole grading process. That a book that has magic marker all over it, that's pretty much ruined. I mean, nobody in their right mind at the time before now would really want that. I mean, a 1.8 is way too high for that, in my opinion. I mean, that's a zero, in my opinion. Maybe, you know, like when you have one page of Superman #1, right? And you got it
Right.
graded, right? Well, it's an incomplete. I mean, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other show.
Absolutely, absolutely. Probably don't want to go down that wormhole right this minute. My final thoughts on it is, um, I love the book. Since the first day that I saw the first time that I witnessed pictures of that book, I had an emotional reaction to it, and for me, it's priceless, regardless of what the grade is. I would not expect, if you see pictures it being for sale and Shane or Dustin are not directly attached to holding it by their faces, it's not for sale.
Yeah.
Report it. But you know, in the end, it's mythological to a certain extent too. So I love the mythology of it, man. So
Yeah,
that is all of mine, man.
yeah, first of all, I mean, don't if you plan on aggravating your girlfriend, hide your comic books, especially the valuable ones, because we don't want to see that happen to many other books like that. First appearance of Green Goblin, I mean, if I seen that, I'd be drooling.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so if you collect comics and you're messing around on your girlfriend or whatever, I don't know what the story is, but put your the good comic books, put them into a really safe place. The other thing is the Key Collector app. I love it. I I don't care about the detractors. I use it. It is a quality app. It definitely helps out. It's a tool, like we said. Use it as a tool. Don't put your whole heart and soul into it, but it's definitely a valuable app. And Nick does a lot of work to try to help us out. So be cool with Nick. Subscribe, like, comment, so that you can get the Key Collector app and you can see it for yourself how awesome it is. That's all I got.
Absolutely. All right.
All right, man.
Everybody be good.
Peace. All right, take it easy.